LeBron James has spent 20 years putting up with comparisons, criticism, and rumors, but now, at 40 years old and with nothing left to prove, he's had enough, and he said exactly what's on his mind. In an explosive interview, LeBron took shots at the media, opened up about his relationship with Jordan, shut down some of the biggest myths about his career, and made it crystal clear how he wants to retire. What did he really say about Michael Jordan? How does he see the journalists who criticize him? And why has he completely ruled out doing a farewell tour? No filters, straightforward raw. These are the kind of statements that'll stir things up and leave more than a few people with their heads spinning. In an interview with the Pat McAfee Show, LeBron James opened up with complete honesty about his life, his career, and all the criticism he's faced. From the very beginning, it was clear his story is one of a kind.
Okay, nobody ever talks about that. Been famous since a teenager. Basketball, obviously, in life as a whole, fucking dominating through and through.
Since he was just a kid in Akron, Ohio, LeBron was already in the eye of the storm. He was on ESPN on magazine covers and being compared to legends like Jordan, Magic, and Bird before he ever played a single game in the NBA. But unlike so many other young prodigies who couldn't handle the spotlight, LeBron never crumbled. And when asked why, he didn't hesitate to answer.
I mean, obviously, I give her a lot of credit for the way she raised me, the way she taught me, the things that she was able to instill in me. There was also me just looking at her, the way she moved and the way how determined she was to be able to make my life better, even with the circumstances that we were growing up in. So, unlike
other young athletes who lose themselves in fame and temptation, LeBron always knew exactly what was at stake.
And it's like, I didn't want to fuck my opportunity up. Like, I knew that the statistics for an inner city black kid to be able to be in a position that I was in, especially from my hometown, it never ever happens.
Never.
It never
happens. Works out either.
It never happens, and if it does happen, it never works out.
It was his mindset that kept him grounded while facing inhuman expectations. He didn't just have to prove he was good, he had to be the best from day one. And when they started putting his name in the same conversation as the all-time greats before he even played his first NBA game, the pressure skyrocketed.
I can remember like my first game, you know, when I watched the replay, my first game on national television, it was like, will he be one of the one-name guys that ever played this game? It was like, they used like Wilt, Kareem, Magic, Bird, Jordan, all these first-name guys.
Shaq.
And then at the end, it was like LeBron. And I'm like, fuck, I'm 17 years old. I was like, what the hell is this? Why you guys are giving me this already? It's like, I haven't done anything. And it's like.
But even though deep down it terrified him, he never let it show. From day one, LeBron projected confidence and total control. And now, at 40 years old, he's still here. He didn't crash. He didn't drown in fame. He didn't become another what could have been. That kid who once swore he'd make the most of his shot is still at the top of the game. If there's one moment that defined LeBron's relationship with fans and the media, it was the decision. Up until then, he was the model player, talented, disciplined, scandal-free. But it only took one night for him to go from Ohio's hero to the NBA's most hated villain. During the conversation, LeBron reflected on what it was like to live through that moment, a moment that, according to him, forever changed how the media treated him.
The decision, you know, it was brought to me to be able to, you know, do something cool on TV, you know, do a kind of college style. Like I said, never went to college. I was like, you know, this would be pretty cool.
Put a hat on.
Make the decision, put the hat on, but also, you know, raise $2.5 million for a great cause.
To him, it was an innovative way to announce his next move, but that's not how people saw it. The narrative quickly shifted. Instead of focusing on the fact that the event raised money for charity, and the media and fans framed it as a massive ego trip.
Everything was so positive, you know, and I gave them no reason to make it negative.
It wasn't fucking up.
But they needed anything. You know, I'm doing everything I need to do on the court. I'm not out in the streets. I'm not being caught in all the bullshit that doesn't respect the game and respect my craft. It was like, oh, you decided to go on TV and make a decision for your career. We got you. We got it. We finally got it. We finally made a little chink in the armor.
The backlash was instant. Cleveland fans saw it as betrayal. His jerseys were burned in the streets, and the media tore him apart like never before. And it didn't take long for the absurdity of it all to hit him. On the same day he played his first game for Miami, a couple of fans confronted him in an elevator, and what happened said it all. That's when it hit him.
I hit the elevator to go downstairs to the bus, catch the bus, to go over to, I think it was the Q, the Quicken Loans Arena then. And the elevator opens, and it's two guys, random guys on the elevator. I don't know, you guys can always pull this up. They used to have these FUKLBJ t-shirts.
Okay.
Black t-shirts, red letters. And I see the two guys, they see me, they say, oh my fucking God. Oh, no, listen, this is, man, we love you so much, man. We're just here for the spectacle, man. We're just here for the spectacle. Like, seriously, we love you, man, and have a good get. And the elevator door closed. I was like,
It wasn't just about basketball anymore, it was entertainment, the media, the fans, the narratives. It was all part of the show. And that was the real turning point. He didn't just leave Cleveland, he left behind the idea that he could control how people saw him. If they were going to talk about him, he'd make damn sure it was on his terms. If there's one thing that really pisses LeBron James off, it's the endless stream of people talking about basketball without having a damn clue what they're saying. And in this interview, he didn't hold back. He went off on commentators, journalists, and so-called experts who've criticized him throughout his career without ever truly understanding his game.
must be the idiots that don't know the game of basketball.
LeBron's had enough of the media circus. He knows his name makes headlines, but what really gets under his skin is that the loudest voices are often the ones who know the least about basketball.
You know, those guys a lot of those guys that played the game or did not play the game, it was just they played the game while they were talented. I don't think they ever thought the game. I don't think they were ever smart. I just think they were bigger and stronger and maybe faster at the time, and they dominated. And when it was over, it was over. You know, they don't. That's why I'm able to still play at fucking 40 years old.
Well, that's what everybody talks about.
And he made it clear that he's not just talking about journalists, he's also coming for former players turned analysts who, in his words, were never the smartest guys on the court to begin with. And this is where things got really spicy. LeBron didn't just speak in general terms, he went straight for names, calling out commentators like Stephen A. Smith, with whom he's clashed in the past.
It started off with, I didn't want to address it.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it. But since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
You would be not to talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you can address it, it's your ass. Like, seriously,
But this isn't new. Ever since the decision back in 2010, LeBron's been the media's favorite punching bag. Whether it's for switching teams, being compared to Jordan, something he says in an interview, or even what he does off the court, there's always someone ready to stir the pot using his name. And just to drive the point home, he threw in a savage comparison to football, saying the NBA has the highest level of bullshit in all of sports media.
too comfortable. I think people in the media have gotten too comfortable, especially with our sport. They got too comfortable where, you know, back in the day, like for sure, you would never bring up Charles Oakley's brother. Charles Oakley will smack you through his brother.
Bernie Maxwell.
All right, yeah, Mad Max, like his name was Mad Max for a reason. It wasn't because he picked you up 94 feet. It was because if you said something about Mad Max, like.
LeBron knows his career is packed with moments the media love to twist and spin, but he also knows that most of his critics have never been in his shoes. And after 20 years of putting up with their nonsense, he's done playing nice with the NBA's loudmouths. After the decision, LeBron became the NBA's ultimate villain. He went from the prodigy kid from Akron to getting booed in every arena he stepped into. But while the world hated him, he was focused on something bigger, learning how to win.
Like, but it got to the point that final season, I was like, I've maximized this potential. I've squeezed all the juice out of this damn lemon here, and I know it. And in order for me to get to where I want to get to, I have to make a choice for my career going forward. And Miami was the best choice. You know, at that moment, I felt like it was the best choice for me.
To most people, teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh seemed like the obvious move. But for LeBron, it was his first major break from everything he knew. At 25, he had never really left Akron. Even though he played in Cleveland, his life still revolved around his hometown. Moving to Miami was his first real step out into the world. What he found there wasn't just a talented team, it was a completely different culture. The Heat had a defined system led by Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, and veterans like Udonis Haslem. In Cleveland, LeBron had been the center of everything. In Miami, he had to learn to fit into a team with other stars and follow a strict structure. And that meant even the smallest details were tightly controlled.
Everyone knows I fucking love chocolate chip cookies. It's like my
Which
it's like
one?
my biggest vice.
Is it specific?
No, it was literally the plane that we were getting on. The ladies on the plane were making chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, homemade.
Yeah, so they knew.
Wow, man.
Yeah, so they were making them and bringing them because we had the same ladies all the time. You know, it was a party of 6. You know, they were rotating every time. They knew I loved chocolate chip cookies, so they would get on. And I would hey,
Soft.
with a little crispy edge.
Oh,
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. And I would get on, and they already knew. They'd bring me 2 cookies, and I'll get the gambling with the guys, and I got my cookies, and we good. And then one flight I got on, I looked at them, and they looked at me, and I'm like, oh, that look didn't look familiar. And I asked him, I was like, we got the, he was like, no, we're not allowed to, no more cookies on these flights.
what?
And we all know where it came from. I looked at D-Wade. D-Wade looked at me. He was like, basically, without even saying, he was like, fucking Rouse done it again. Rouse strikes again. I was like, damn.
That story perfectly sums up what heat culture is all about. It doesn't matter who you are, no one gets special treatment. It's all about sacrifice, hard work, and putting the team first. But what LeBron really discovered in Miami was the art of winning. He surrounded himself with players who already knew what it took to become champions. LeBron went from being a generational talent to becoming a true on-court leader. And in Miami, he learned what it meant to be a champion. 4 straight finals appearances, 2 titles, 2 finals MVPs. LeBron became the best player in the world, but after 4 years, he felt like he had nothing left to learn there. He'd done what he came to do. And when it was time to choose his next move, his instinct told him it was time to go home.
Go to Miami,
Yeah.
obviously do that, go back to Cleveland,
Yeah.
win one. Hey,
Yeah, man.
we're
Yes,
out
sir.
town.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That
sir.
parade was bananas.
Yes, sir.
And then obviously,
The context was completely different from his first stint with the Cavs. This time, he had championship experience. He knew what it took to win, but that didn't mean it was going to be easy. He knew his return wouldn't go unnoticed. His departure in 2010 had left deep scars in Cleveland, fans burned his jerseys, and team owner Dan Gilbert publicly attacked him. But over time, things changed. The hate started to fade, and the city slowly realized that deep down, they needed him back. LeBron also talked about the importance of the new team around him. In his first run with Cleveland, he was the lone star, but now he had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love by his side. It was a team built to win from day one. The first year wasn't perfect. They reached the finals, but injuries to Kyrie and Love left them no real shot against the Warriors. But in 2016, when they faced Golden State again in the finals, the story changed. The Warriors had just posted the best regular season record in NBA history, and when they went up 3-1 in the series, it felt like everything was over. LeBron recalled that moment as the biggest challenge of his entire career. The rest is history. The block on Iguodala, Kyrie's clutch 3, the impossible comeback. When the final buzzer sounded, LeBron collapsed to the floor in tears. He had fulfilled his promise. He had delivered a championship to Cleveland, one that once seemed impossible. LeBron also talked about his arrival to the Lakers, a completely different stage from anything before. In Cleveland, he was the chosen one. In Miami, he learned how to win. But in Los Angeles, he had to prove he could still dominate.
Yeah, I mean, listen, my aspiration was a lot bigger than just, winning MVPs and, being an all-star and, whatever all the individual things is. Before I even got to the NBA, I've always won.
When he signed with the Lakers in 2018, speculation was immediate. Many believed his decision was more about things off the court. Hollywood, his production company Spring Hill, his expanding personal brand. But for him, the game was still the priority, and he proved it from day one. Even at 34, he was still playing at an MVP level. But his first season in LA didn't go as planned. For the first time in over a decade, LeBron missed the playoffs. Injuries kept him off the court, and the team, built around a young, inexperienced core, he just wasn't ready to compete at the highest level. It hit him hard. He hadn't finished a season without playing in the finals since 2010, but in 2019, everything changed with the arrival of Anthony Davis. LeBron realized that staying on top meant evolving his game.
My mind is just like I can play the game because I can outthink the guys out there. And as my athleticism has went down a notch, not a lot,
yeah,
but a notch.
Slow. Don't you a little fat too?
As my athleticism has went down a notch, like I'm able to still bring up other facets of my game to be able to still, do what I need to do every single night. But the talking heads of our sport, oh my God.
He still had the explosiveness and speed, but now his greatest weapon was his basketball IQ, his vision, and his ability to control the pace of the game. That evolution led him to win his 4th ring in 2020 inside the Orlando bubble.
Because everybody in the NBA does look up to LeBron is our guy. I think Pat Beverly told the story down at the bubble whenever everybody was like, we need to take a stand and yada yada yada. And then I think he was the person who went up and said, hey, you, if you're fucking playing, we're all playing. If you're not playing, we're not playing. But I think that's how.
And even though some tried to downplay that title, he made it clear. Being isolated, playing with no fans, staying locked in during a global pandemic, it made everything harder. But LeBron and the Lakers pulled off what few thought possible. They brought glory back to a franchise that hadn't won in a decade. That title was more than just another trophy. It was proof that even in his 17th season, he could still be the best. But beyond the rings and the records, what he values most in this stage of his career is the respect he's earned, both on and off the court.
Respect amongst your peers.
No, for real.
Sure.
To have the respect for my peers, that means a lot. And I carry that, man. And
now, at 40, he's still in the NBA, and while many wonder how much longer he'll keep going, he doesn't see the end coming anytime soon.
For real, for me, it's my mind. If I could continue to, I am all about the process. Like, I am all about the process, and if it gets to the point where I don't feel like showing up to the arena 5 hours in advance, or I don't feel like training, or I don't feel like studying the scout sheet of guys. Like, if it gets to that point, like, I know, like, you know what, Bron? It's a wrap.
One of the most interesting moments of the interview came when LeBron opened up about his relationship with Luka Doncic and what it's been like sharing the court with him. Since entering the league, the Slovenian star has constantly been compared to legends of the past, but for LeBron, Luka doesn't need comparisons. His talent speaks for itself.
It's Luka magic for a reason, and you see that. You see his play on the game. He's a very transcendent player.
There's always been mutual respect between the two, but when Luka officially joined the Lakers, LeBron felt it was important to send a clear message.
You looked at Luka, and it was a big deal because you said, you don't change a damn thing. We'll change for you, actually, is what you said, and then broke it down. I think it was a big deal for people to hear you say, but also obviously Luka as well. What has it been like, and why do you guys have such good chemistry?
That gesture surprised many, especially since the narrative has always been that LeBron needs to be the dominant presence on any team he plays for. But he made it clear that this view is completely off the mark.
You know, I think both sides will.
A lot of people thought you two wouldn't be able to work together because ball dominant, you know? LeBron James, too much of a prima donna.
Yeah, that's right.
Not going to let Luka come in and do the Luka shit. And they won't be able to figure it out.
Yeah, it must be the idiots that don't know the game of basketball.
To LeBron, Luka represents the future of the league. His talent, his court vision, and his ability to take over games make him one of the most unique players of this generation. And while they've already shown on the court that they complement each other well, LeBron also understands how tough it can be for a young player to go through an unexpected trade.
You know, I can't put myself in his shoes because I've never been traded before, but I can have a sense and be a human being to know you commit to a franchise for 7 years and you feel like, you know, this is the place where I'm gonna be. This is my comfort. You know, I talk about my comfort before I went to Miami, and then out of nowhere, bam, you just get traded.
Still, the message is clear. Luka is the future, and LeBron is there to help him become the best version of himself. At this stage in his career, legacy matters most to LeBron, and if Luka Doncic becomes part of that legacy, then he knows he's doing something right. Ever since he entered the league, LeBron has carried a label he never asked for: the chosen one. He wasn't just expected to be a great player, he was supposed to revolutionize the NBA, and from his teenage years, he was already being compared to Michael Jordan. And while some players might feel honored by those comparisons, for LeBron, it was a heavy burden from day one. From that moment on, the narrative was set. Either LeBron lived up to the hype or he was a failure, and even though his career has exceeded all expectations, the comparisons never stopped. In the interview, LeBron talked about how basketball fans tend to idealize the past and resist change. For him, it's not about who's better, it's about understanding that the game evolves.
Nostalgic moments, but like the game is different, and we should respect all eras in that era.
He believes nostalgia plays a huge role in how people analyze basketball. Fans remember the players they grew up watching and often downplay the newer generations.
You know, we can't be saying, okay, just because Wilt was great in the 60s and 70s that he'll be great now. And we also can't say that some of the guys now will be great. It is what it is. Respect that era and we move on. But the whole, every single day that he's better, he's not better.
What bothers him most is when former players try to discredit what he's built.
You hear some of them older guys like LeBron James couldn't play in this era.
Never been fouled by Bill Laimbeer before.
Yeah. I think I seen like Dennis Rodman say that one time. He was like, LeBron James, not skilled enough. Yeah, not big enough. He's not, doesn't weigh enough. He's not strong enough.
Can't handle it.
I'm like, okay.
But beyond the debates about greatness, what strikes LeBron the most is that he's now the one younger generations look up to.
That shit, the inspiration that he gave me as a kid in Akron, Ohio, that don't have much inspiration in your hometown, you look at something seeing Saquon like out there, and I got guys like wearing my shoes now. You know, when Saquon
right.
did that move where he like turned backwards and did a pirouette backwards and jumped up in the air, and like he had my kicks on, I was like, oh my.
Throughout his career, LeBron James has constantly been compared to Michael Jordan. But here's something most people don't know. He and Jordan have virtually no relationship. In the interview, LeBron made that crystal clear.
We don't talk.
Why not, you think?
Because I'm still playing. I think I'm still playing. I'm still focused on my.
This completely shatters the idea that there's some special bond between them. No advice, no calls, no mentor-student dynamic. Jordan simply doesn't engage with LeBron. And the wildest part is that Jordan has had solid relationships with other stars. He had mutual respect with Kobe, shared moments with Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony. But with LeBron, nothing. LeBron never directly says it, but it's obvious he feels that distance. He's been part of every GOAT debate, placed in the same breath as Jordan, used in endless arguments, but Jordan never acknowledged him. Which brings us to another key part of the story, the Nike deal. One of the biggest myths surrounding LeBron's career is that he signed with Nike to follow in Jordan's footsteps, and in this interview, he finally shut that down for good.
It's a fact. He signed with Nike because of Michael Jordan. It's like, no the fuck I didn't. I signed with Nike because I got a hell of a signing bonus, and they gave me a 7-year, $90 million contract. And I moved my mom out of the hood the next day I signed that contract. Like, and ultimately, my whole thing is like, what do I want to wear off the court? It's like, I want to wear fucking Nikes. Like, I want to wear Jordans. I want to wear pennies. I want to wear Bo Jacksons. I want to wear Air Maxes. I want to wear like.
His deal with Nike had nothing to do with MJ. For LeBron, it was about opportunity and a massive paycheck. But what annoys him most is how some journalists try to tell his story like they've known him forever.
Like I seen Brian Windhurst on one of these shows not too long ago. Like
Wendy.
Yeah, you played over high school.
Wendy, you guys played together in high school.
Yeah,
right? He was on your high school
this
team.
guy was like, says he's like my fucking best friend. These guys are just weird, but
For LeBron, the comparisons with Jordan were inevitable, but the truth is, they never had a relationship. With Kobe, though, things were different. In LeBron's early years, his relationship with Bryant was almost non-existent. They were competitors, two superstars in opposite conferences, with the world dreaming of a final showdown that never happened. But when they teamed up during the 2008 Olympics, everything changed. That experience allowed them to bond off the court, and mutual respect started to grow.
I mean, like me and Kobe, besides our, the late great Kobe, obviously, me and Kobe never had a real relationship either until we was on the Olympic team. We had a great relationship there. Olympic team 8, Olympic team 12, but it was always competitive between us. We were always like, I was on the East Coast, he was on the West Coast, and it was like, even though we never, I fucked up one time in 09 and didn't beat Orlando, and I think it was 09, didn't beat Orlando and didn't get him an opportunity to play him in the finals. But like, and until I became a Laker and then he retired, that's when our relationship like became really, really good.
Yeah.
That connection deepened over the years, but the most emotional moment came in January 2020 when LeBron passed Kobe on the NBA's all-time scoring list. It happened in Philadelphia, Kobe's hometown, which gave it even more meaning. Throughout the game, LeBron knew he was close to the milestone. He expected it, but he had no idea what would follow.
Things of that nature. And when I passed him in the scoring record in Philly, I think he had a tweet out there like, keep on going, like keep transcending the game, keep going, like, and that shit like meant so much to me. So like,
after the game, LeBron received a message from Kobe that would stay with him forever. It wasn't just a congratulations, it was a push to keep going. Less than 24 hours later, the world was shaken by the news of the helicopter crash that took Kobe Bryant's life, along with his daughter Gianna and 7 others. For LeBron, the impact was crushing. Just hours before, they had exchanged words, and now he was mourning someone who had gone from rival to basketball brother. Since that moment, LeBron has made it a mission to honor Kobe's legacy, especially within the Lakers and across the league. When he led the Lakers to the 2020 championship in the Orlando bubble, it carried a deeper weight. That title meant more than just a trophy. Unlike the Jordan comparisons, LeBron's connection with Kobe became something real. He doesn't just respect him, he feels part of the legacy Kobe built with the Lakers. But if there's one moment LeBron James had always dreamed of living in the NBA, it was sharing the court with his son, Bronny James. He'd said it countless times throughout his career. He didn't care which team, under what conditions, his goal was to play alongside his oldest son. And in 2024, that dream came true when Bronny was drafted by the Lakers. A historic moment for the NBA, but above all, a once-in-a-lifetime moment for LeBron.
And then less than a year later, be drafted by the Lakers, and then in that fall, we go out there together. So that's why I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we walked in together, but I was not there.
The everything that happened LeBron refers to has a name, the terrifying health scare that nearly cost Bronny his life. A year before his debut, Bronny suffered a cardiac arrest during practice with USC. It was a brutal blow for the family, a moment when basketball took a back seat.
He went through not less than a year before with his
he almost died?
His cardiac arrest, man.
That came out of nowhere, seemingly.
That came out of nowhere. It was a birth defect that quite honestly, if he never played sports or he never started to become strong and run fast and all those stuff, we would never have to worry about it. But as he got stronger and things of that nature, it was just something inside his heart that...
But Bronny recovered and against all odds, made it back. Not only did he return to the court, he worked hard enough to earn his spot in the NBA draft, and LeBron, who's lived the biggest moments in basketball, admitted that nothing compares to the day he shared the floor with his son in an official game. In the interview, he also made it clear that even though playing with Bronny was a personal dream, he never wanted to pressure him. Being LeBron's son comes with massive expectations, and his message to Bronny has always been the same: enjoy the game and do what makes you happy.
I've always told my kids, all of them, they all play sports. 2 basketball players, my youngest son going to Arizona, 12 and under volleyball, she just turned 10. So and I just tell them, it doesn't matter about the noise. That's going to happen. It's only about, if you love it, go out and practice. If you think if you fall in love with it, you only can fall in love with the process. Don't worry about the outcome. Fall in love with the process, and that shit will take care of itself. So
now the big question is, could history repeat itself with his younger son, Bryce? He's still young, but already stands at 6 feet 6 inches and has serious talent. LeBron laughs at the idea, but he's not ruling it out.
You said that years ago. Bryce now, though,
very possible.
That is...
oh, don't do that to me.
He says it jokingly, but with LeBron, you never know. If there's one thing he's shown throughout his career, it's that when he sets his mind to something, he finds a way to make it happen. At 40 years old and with 22 NBA seasons under his belt, the question everyone's asking is, how much longer will LeBron James keep playing? Over the years, talks about his retirement have come and gone, but time and time again, he's proven he's still got plenty of gas in the tank. Still, in the interview, he admitted that the conversation about his future is becoming more and more real.
But up more and more every year, because obviously I know I'm on the other side of the hill.
LeBron made it clear it's not a physical issue, it's mental. His body is still holding up. Sure, he's lost some of that explosive edge, but his basketball IQ and on-court mastery keep him as one of the league's top forces. What matters most now isn't whether his body can take it, it's whether his mind still has the fire to keep competing. Because if there's one thing that defines LeBron, it's his obsession with preparation. Even at this age, he's still one of the first to arrive at practice and the last to leave. His recovery routine, disciplined diet, and relentless film study have kept him at the top for over 2 decades. But here's the spicy part: LeBron has absolutely no interest in doing a farewell tour. He doesn't want his retirement to become a media circus. No emotional videos, no standing ovations in every arena, no teary goodbye speeches. LeBron wants to walk away quietly on his own terms. If there's one thing he's made clear in recent years, it's that he wants full control over his legacy. And that includes not giving the media the grand exit they're waiting for. The truth is, as of today, that day doesn't seem close. Despite the rumors, LeBron is still playing at an elite level and still loving the game. But he's also aware that the end will come eventually. For more than 2 decades in the NBA, LeBron James has built a legacy that goes far beyond basketball. From his records and championships to his cultural and social impact, his influence is impossible to ignore. But what's truly mind-blowing is that at 40, he's still one of the best players on the planet. While most of his peers have long retired, he's still out there breaking records and defying time. How much longer will we see LeBron on the court? Could he become the first player to hit 25 seasons? For now, the only thing we know is that the end isn't here yet, and as long as he's out there, he'll keep writing history.